tonight on Sports Saturday. It's the most wonderful time of the year, bowl season. Bama hits the practice field, and Nick Saban is talking about the Buckeyes.
You serious, Clark?
Dead serious. Plus, it's time for Bowl Mania. We've got the New Orleans Bowl, the Potato Bowl, the Las Vegas Bowl. I'm practically Santa Claus handing out all these bowls.
No, you're not.
Okay, buddy, you're right. But we're about to give you an early present of football.
Football? Football? What's a football?
Just wait, Ralphie. We've got hoops too. It's Sports Saturday.
They have got to be so scared to miss it, so terrified.
Grab your eggnog. Put away the mistletoe. It's 15 minutes of sports. You're not surprised, are you?
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
And it starts right now.
From the campus of the University of Alabama, live sports. From Alabama's sports team, this is WVUA Sports.
And welcome in, everybody, to Sports Saturday. I'm BJ Millican. We're only 12 days away from Alabama's big matchup against Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. And Saturday afternoon, the Tide was back on the practice field once again. It's Bama's 5th consecutive practice, mostly camp-like workouts until now. The Tide has finally started some work on the Ohio State Buckeyes. A big piece of that game plan is sure to be junior running back TJ Yeldon. Nick Saban updated his health today and the plan to get him to 100% by New Year's Day.
It's a medical decision as to what would be the best way for him to be able to come back and be able to be most effective playing. And, you know, that decision is to really limit what he does until we come back after Christmas. All right, so he's doing a lot of rehab, he's doing a lot of conditioning type stuff. That is not going to put strain on, you know, the hamstring and some of the injuries that he's sort of had. So we're trying to use this extra time to get him healthy, all right, rather than, you know, sort of staying on this treadmill of, okay, he really never gets better.
There you go. More from the Alabama sidelines coming up in just a bit. But first, we head to the north to check in on our friends at WBNS in Columbus, Ohio. Bo Bishop has this report.
Hey there, guys. Well, these are two programs that have had an eye on each other for decades. Tremendous amount of respect for Alabama by those in and around the Buckeye program, most notably head coach Urban Meyer. Of course, Meyer knows firsthand from his time at Florida when Nick Saban and exactly what he has built in Tuscaloosa. In fact, Meyer so admires what Saban did that he has used it as a blueprint for this program he is building here, most notably in recruiting, where Meyer's about the only coach in America that can come close to matching Saban class for class, and it makes sense. As much as Ohio State and Alabama have in common, so too does Urban Meyer and Nick Saban.
Well, I've used Alabama. You know, I've used, you know, anytime the top of the mountain, I've used them. You know, I've used respectfully used them, you know, because they play very well. You know, every year they're in a championship hunt, and I've used them. And so there's a lot of respect for University of Alabama and their athletes.
You know, Urban Meyer has been adamant that Ohio State is a year ahead of schedule. This Buckeye team will be starting its third-string quarterback in the Sugar Bowl. Nobody expected them to be in this game, not this season, and yet here they are. And knowing just how hard it is to get at-bats in games like this one, you can bet Urban Meyer will have his team ready.
Every available hand in this facility is working for this one, and we'll worry about the next one. And I talked to our coordinators a little bit about it, and you know, I've done it before where during the course of the season, you know, you maybe send a GA to start getting ready for a Michigan State coming down the road or something like that. But this one, you know, it would be a tactical error on my part to have anybody in this facility working on something other than Alabama.
Of course, they're a great team, not just the defense. You know, they're not number one for no reason, and they're going to always have a good defense, and they're always going to have a good team. So right now I have to say physical.
Go in there with the same preparation, the same intensity, and the same leadership. And you'll have a shot in the game. We know they're going to do some things differently. They're not going to be as one-dimensional, so we'll have to be able to defend that way. But obviously, if we have the same leadership, like I said, preparation is always key for us. We'll be able to put ourselves in a situation to be successful.
You know, if you're drawing up the inaugural college football playoff, you'd have Alabama play Ohio State. Now, we're lucky enough to get it as reality in year one. Looking forward to seeing all you guys in New Orleans. Bo Bishop, 10 TV Sports, Columbus.
Thanks a lot, Bo. Still much more to come on Sports Saturday. That includes another Buckeye making his way into our play of the day. And we'll also talk about second chances. Nick Saban got fired up today at his post-practice press conference. It's a must-hear audio session. Stay with us. Sports Saturday. We'll be back right after this. For the second week in a row, our play today comes from Sam Thompson. Look at the Buckeye throwing it down the double pump slam. But North Carolina did a little dunking of their own. Watch Bryce Johnson throw this one down. Hoop! The Hills get the win in the CBS Sports Classic. More hoops highlights coming up in just a bit. Lots of Ohio State talk today, but Nick Saban also got a question about second chances, specifically about defensive lineman DJ Petway. You'll remember that Petway was one of 4 Crimson Tide players arrested for robbery 2 years ago. He went to JUCO for a year and re-signed with Alabama. Nick Saban gave a very passionate response to why he welcomes players back after off-the-field trouble.
There's always a lot of criticism out there. When somebody does something wrong, everybody wants to know how you're going to punish the guy. All right, but there's not enough for 19 and 20-year-old kids, people out there saying, why don't you give them another chance? All right, so I'm going to give a speech right now about this. Like, where do you want him to be? Guy makes a mistake. Where do you want him to be? You want him to be in the street? Or do you want him to be here graduating? I feel strong about this now, really strong. All right, about all the criticism out there of every guy that's 19 years old that makes a mistake and you all kill him. And then some people won't stand up for him. So my question to you is, where do you want him to be? You guys are getting me fired up. You better be careful on this one, buddy. You might want to just pass that thing on down the road.
Coach Saban in rare form today, but he has a good point. Now, if you were inside today, you had a chance to let football wash over you for nearly 12 hours. It's still going on right now, as a matter of fact. Bowl Mania began today in the New Orleans, the site of the Sugar Bowl, of course. Mark Hudspeth's Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. A good start against Nevada. Terrence Broadway looking like he's ready for those bright lights. He hit C.J. Bates, 17-yard score, 7-zip, just like that. The Raging Cajuns turns up the defense, too. They win 16-3, their 4th consecutive New Orleans Bowl victory, the first time a team has ever won the same bowl 4 years in a row. We head to the ABQ, Utah State and UTEP in the New Mexico Bowl. Kent Myers has the task of replacing Chucky Keaton. This is the 3rd-string quarterback, doing a pretty good impression, too. He goes 48 yards for the score, 70 yards on the ground for him today. Later, it's the Miners trying to dig their way out of a hole. Tyler Floyd's going to intercept the ball. Nice concentration off the tip. The Aggies win a bowl game for the 3rd straight year. 21-6 is your final. Colorado State minus Jim McElwain facing Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl. Utah hasn't been bowling in 3 years, so they were feeling tricky to get the game started. First play of the game, 36-yard completion. All sorts of crazy stuff with that. Travis Wilson, though, calls his own number on the read option. One of 3 rushing touchdowns on the day for Wilson. The Utes, a dominating 45-10 win. Finally, we head to the Smurf Turf in Boise at the Idaho Potato Bowl. Lots of ways to make potatoes. I like potatoes. Corey Davis liked them a little burned, like he does to the defense. Boom, 47 yards from Zach Terrell. Western Michigan leads. But Air Force up 6 in the 4th when the defense goes au gratin. I don't really know what I mean there. Dexter Walker, a 60-yard fumble return. The Falcons flying with a 38-24 win, snapping a 2-bowl losing streak. Nothing like kicking off bowl season. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Coming up, we're going to show you a shocker in college basketball involving a former Alabama player. Plus, 4 games in 9 days for Anthony Grant's team. We'll talk about what's next for the Tide, plus a Kentucky-sized blowout for the Cats. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on Sports Saturday. Michigan State is 25th in America. Former Bama player and UAB coach Mike Davis's Texas Southern team has only won 1 game. So why in the world are they beating the Spartans in East Lansing? Jason Carter's tough shot here in the lane gives the Tigers a lead. The game went to overtime where Southern never trailed, and Mike Davis's team pulls off the shocker 59-55. Congratulations to Coach Davis. It was a tough stretch for Anthony Grant's basketball team. 4 games in 9 days. They wrap up that stretch tomorrow afternoon. Last night, they got a 20-point win over Stillman, a game which saw Riley Norris and Justin Coleman, 2 true freshmen, start the game. Coach Grant said afterwards that he was very happy with the outcome.
The thing that we always talk about as a team is trying to get better every time we step in between the lines, whether it's practice or a game, and I feel like today gave us the opportunity to do that. We got a chance to play a lot of different people today in different positions, in different roles, different lineups, so that was a great opportunity today.
Here's a look at how this stretch has gone so far. They only lost that heartbreaker at Wichita State. Tomorrow they're going to face App State. Then after Christmas break, a big home game against UCLA. Now, speaking of the Bruins, they were the sacrificial lambs today for top-ranked Kentucky. If Coach Cal looks bored, it's because his Cats scored the first 24 points of the game. The score at halftime was 41-7. That's the lowest first-half total ever for UCLA. John Wooden rolling over in his grave. Needless to say, Kentucky wins big, 83-44. Big time there today for the Cats. How about Auburn in overtime with Xavier? Malcolm Canada, eh? Look at that. That puts the Tigers up 2. He had 15. Xavier comes back in the second overtime. Down a point. Jalen Reynolds cleans up the miss. Musketeers up. But Auburn took the lead on free throws. Xavier had a chance for the win. They missed it. Remy Abel misses the shot. Auburn with its biggest win under Bruce Pearl, 89-88. Let's take a look at the SEC scoreboard. Wins all around for other teams that aren't in the SEC. Illinois over Missouri. Wake Forest does take a loss to Florida. Texas A&M falls on the road to Kansas State. Georgia Tech knocks off Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State falls to South Carolina upstate. Before we get out of here, there's a story I have to show you from the Michigan basketball game today. Michigan sophomore Michael Miller, let's look at the video here. He had to hit a layup, a three-pointer, and a half-court shot for $10,000. Boom! He gets it. Wait, that was actually the layup. He does it. He didn't do it in time, though. They did give him $1,000. That's all we have for tonight.